Now you're scaring me.
Yeah.
Did you
Maybe bring in some cots too.
Did bring in one.
Oh, yeah.
The two kids.
Yes, she brought some in down there.
See?
A check.
No thanks.
Reminds us of the good old days when I would vote no to leave after midnight.
Oh, okay.
Right.
No, I'm
Oh,
on that.
wait, Steve, we have a phone call.
Hold on, sorry.
Yeah, and you're not on the phone.
Yeah.
Hello?
So what was the latest?
'15th, 2020. This is our first meeting for December, our 18th meeting so far for 2020, and our 14th meeting conducted during the pandemic. Please make note of the red emergency exit lights. If we do have an emergency of some kind, that will be your way out. If you have a phone or other electronic device, if you would either turn it off or turn the ringer off, we would appreciate that, so it won't interrupt our meeting. There are some items this evening for which there is a public hearing, and those in the audience will have an opportunity to participate if you wish. And also there will be available to folks who are perhaps watching this on the YouTube channel an opportunity to call in by telephone. If you wish to do so, the number to call is 518-761-8225, and I will announce that number again as we approach those items for public hearing. I want to make note that we got our annual present from Maria. Thank you very much, Maria, present from your kitchen, that wonderful fudge that she makes. And
Are you gonna rub it into the people who are at home watching us now that they can't have fudge?
they are in a position to make their own fudge. We rely on Maria every year.
We're working.
So, let's see. With that, we will commence with the agenda. The first item, we do have some administrative items. The first item is approval of minutes from October, and that would be October 20 and October 27. I think we have a draft resolution.
No, but we will make one.
Yeah.
That's what I'll make. What were the dates, Steve?
October 20 and October 27, 2020.
Okay, did you announce the exits?
I'm sorry?
Did you announce the exits?
I did.
All right,
I'm going to interrupt you. I know there's people that are not sitting. There's only enough room in this, or space in this room for those that are sitting in a chair. So I'll have to ask you to step out or step out into the parking lot.
Because of social distancing.
Correct. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
motion to approve the October 20th and October 27th Planning Board minutes for the Town of Queensbury Planning Board.
Second it.
We have an approval motion for the minutes of October 20 and 27, 2020, and it's been seconded. Is there any discussion or corrections to the minutes? Maria, can you call the vote for us, please?
Mr. Teague?
Yes.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Hunzinger?
Yes.
Mr. McGowan?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes?
Mr. Traver?
Yes. We also have three other administrative items. The first is for the subdivision preliminary stage 19-2020 for JP Gross Properties LLC. There is a process that we will be going through, beginning with we as a planning board requesting lead agency status. Right, Laura?
That's correct. It's a
Okay.
coordinated review with the town board at this time.
Okay. So is there any discussion about it's a fairly straightforward process that we've engaged with other applications with? We begin by doing lead agency, and then later, it's anticipated later this month, town board hopefully will consent to that, and then in January, we will be conducting seeker and so on. So with that, I believe we have a resolution.
Motion to seek lead agency status in connection with subdivision preliminary stage 19-2020, JP Gross Properties LLC.
Second?
We have a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Maria, can you call the vote for us, please?
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Hunzinger?
Yes.
Mr. McGowan?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes?
Mr. Teague?
Yes.
Mr. Traver?
Yes. Let's see, the next item is request for tabling. This is site plan 48-2020 for Prenderville. Laura?
Yeah, so this applicant is requested to be tabled till January, and I have information, they were trying to resolve information with the town engineer, and I believe that's been completed, and I anticipate them back in January.
Okay. Any questions about that request?
Was this the tabling for something that would have come up this month? It's not a table that something was expired?
It was tabled to tonight,
It was tabled to tonight.
so there's still some outstanding issues, so they want to keep working on it for a bit.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to table site plan 48-2020 Mark Prenderville to the January 26, 2021 Planning Board meeting with information due by December 15, 2020 today.
I'm sorry, is that, you tabled it to the first meeting in just January?
I have here
19th to
26.
26th.
Which one did you want?
Should be the first meeting in January.
Which is?
The 19th?
19?
I think so. I apologize, I don't have it in front of me.
No, I got the new calendar right here.
19th, Brett?
Yeah, we got the 19th to the 26th.
19th, please.
Amend that to the January 19th, 2021 Planning Board meeting. Second.
We have an amended motion made and seconded. Any discussion on that motion? Maria, can you call the vote for us, please?
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Hunzinger?
Yes.
Mr. McGowan?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes?
Mr. Teague?
Yes.
Mr. Dixon? Yes. Mr. Traver?
Yes. The next item is with the Great Escape Theme Park LLC. They have requested an extension of the approval to January of 2022. And this is for the Adirondack Outlaw Project. Some might remember that. The initial approval was back in January of this year. Laura, do you have any background on why they want such a lengthy extension?
So I have two of the representatives in the audience, if you want to hear from them
Oh,
directly.
okay.
So,
Does anyone have any concerns about the length of that extension? Yes,
You said
okay.
January 2022?
I thought it
So
was
either one
July
of you. yeah,
2022.
so-
It was,
July, all right, because
Either-
that's more than 18
Yeah.
months.
Yeah,
it
Danielle,
was
do you want to
approved-
speak?
Okay, so we're going, okay, July.
it was approved in January of this
Yeah,
year.
you said
so-
January, so
yeah.
I'm getting confused.
so.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
Hi. So we're requesting such a lengthy approval because New York State has not given any guidance to the Great Escape on when they will be able to open. Unfortunately, we were not able to open for our 2020 season, and obviously that, was not expected for us, and coronavirus, while we hope is ended for 2021, just in case it is not, we just wanted to seek the approval until 2022. But, you know, we did get approval through Six Flags to keep trucking and, you know, put in this ride when we can. So that's why we're seeking such a
Okay.
long approval.
And
Well-
for the record, can you just state your name?
Oh, yep, Danielle Smith from Six Flags Grayscape.
Yes, thank you.
Danielle, are you gonna try to get it done this year if you can?
Yes, we are going to try.
But you didn't wanna come back later for an extension in case you got it? You wanna do it now?
Well, we will not complete it for January 2021, and that's when our extension isn't, or that's when our site plan was approved to. Yeah, it expires in January of 2021, and
Oh,
I think what we're wondering is, if we grant you an extension, let's say until July or August of this coming year, if things go well, and, you know, as we know that people are being vaccinated and so on, if you are able to resume operations of some sort, I would think, regardless of whether the park is operating at 100%, you could still begin the construction of this ride. How would you feel about that? And if that didn't work, you could certainly come back and make a request.
yeah, I think we would be open to a shorter extension, as, you know, as long as we get guidance from New York State so we can open our ride. But yes, I believe.
Understood, sure.
so what, you wanna go for a year?
Well, let's ask how do board members feel. I mean, they're asking for July 2022. Does anyone have an issue with that, or do we want to?
No, I have just a general question before we get to that, is from the time of approval up until now, you're doing site plan and you're doing, you know, you're doing layout plan, stuff like that. Has that been progressing from the time that you, when, can't think of his name, Palumbo there?
Right. Yeah, so we were put on a work from home hold in March, so we really didn't get to accomplish a lot, and then we were placed on a complete hold until we got guidance from New York State. So unfortunately, we kind of just stopped the project in its tracks to focus on strictly just opening the park.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to separate, opening the park versus designing the layout, the plan, the site plan, everything like that to present.
Right,
I mean, I'm looking and saying, okay, submit site plan, open when you can.
right.
Well, they have the plans, and, you know, they have all of the preparations for construction done. They just haven't been able to, as I understand it, commence construction because of the winter weather followed by the COVID in the spring.
Correct.
It's been approved.
But it's, oh, I remember that, yeah.
Okay.
So do I.
I don't have a problem going to what they're asking. I mean, due to all the circumstances, and then when, you know, everything, if it does get back, I mean, when you, being in the construction industry now, I mean, shipping is just crazy. You don't know when you're gonna get stuff and this and that. So if they plan on stuff, there's gonna be delays. And who knows when we're gonna come out of this. I mean, the vaccine is hopefully, I'm praying it's gonna be a success, but, you know, I don't think it's fair to say, all right, we'll give you a year, and if you're not there, then you have to come back and they're right in the middle of that. So for me, I think it's a fair thing to go.
Okay. Michael, how do you feel?
I'd be okay with their July timeline
2022?
for 2022 with the thought of, I've never seen Six Flags do any construction during the summer when you're trying to bring crowds in, which kind of corrals you to the fall. So
Fall,
we're
winter.
really looking fall, winter, and then spring of next year. So I don't think July 22 is unreasonable.
Okay.
Actually, that makes more
That makes
sense
more
now.
sense.
Putting
Thanks,
that
All right,
perspective.
so it sounds like we have general support for the extension as requested. So we have a draft resolution, let's see how that flies.
I motion to approve an 18-month extension for site plan 3-2020 Great Escape Theme Park LLC. Do you want to put the July date in there, or just, I don't have it,
I would say the end of July of 2022.
to the end of July 2022.
All right, we have a resolution, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Maria, can you call the vote for us, please?
Mr. Hunziker?
Yes.
Mr. McGowan?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yep.
Mr. Peak?
Yes.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Traver?
Yes.
Thank
You're
you
all
very much.
set, and it's did you understand that it's granted as requested?
Yes.
So you're good to July, the end of July 2022?
Yes.
And one last favor, if you could take one of the cleaning wipes and just wipe down the microphone for us, please, for the next speaker. Thank you.
And I hope you open this summer.
Yeah.
Us too. Thank you all.
I have to say, the 12 years that I've had the roller coaster in my backyard, it was the first time that there was no noise. But I really don't mind it, you know, so you get used to it and it's a happy noise. But it was sure different this summer. I mean, it was like I could hear the birds, you know?
Amazing what Teflon will do.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we move into our regular agenda. The first section of that agenda is Planning Board recommendations to the Zoning Board of Appeals. And the first item on that section of our agenda is Rockhurst LLC, Site Plan 57-2020. Laura?
So this applicant proposes to demolish existing buildings to construct a new single-family home with 2,400 square foot footprint, a 4,300 square foot floor area with exterior patio areas. The project includes site work for fill and grading, stormwater management, shoreline landscaping, new septic and water supply from Lake George. The relief for the variance sought is for shoreline setback where 50 feet is proposed and 75 feet is required. And the home is to be 29 feet, 10 inches in height, where 28 feet is the maximum allowed.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Gavin Viome with Environmental Design, representing Rockhurst and Christopher Abley. Mr. Abley is with me this evening in case there's some questions that I can't answer. He can help you out with anything else. But for tonight, again, we're just here for a referral to the ZBA, so we can appear in front of them for two variances, as was stated, one being for the 75-foot shoreline setback, and the second being for the maximum 28-foot building height. So as you want to maybe just quickly turn your attention to the plans. The
Actually, have them right here.
Oh, you got it right in front of you? Okay, well then, I'll just, for those that don't, I will just quickly point out a few items on both the existing conditions plan and the site plan. This first slide shows the site as it currently sits today. We have two existing cottages that are located on the parcel to the west. And then there's a second parcel that has a larger structure, which was the main structure for this piece of property, along with a small attached garage. Both along the frontages of the shoreline, you can see there's a set of boat docks here, and then another 2 or 3 docks over on the north side of the property. So one thing to keep in mind that for this project, or for this current application, we're really just now looking to develop the property, the 1 acre parcel. We call it the cottage lot, where the 2 cottages are that would be the first phase of this project. The second phase would be the development of the larger main parcel. So all the calculations that were done for the site plan, all the variances, the 2 variances that were required are only associated with the cottage lot. So Laura, can you go to the site plan, please? So again, just for your reference, we have showed on this particular plan a very conceptual layout for the main lot, just so that you can see how it potentially could be developed in the future. But again, we're really just focused on the 1 acre parcel on the western portion of these 2 properties. So the intent here is obviously to get the building as far away from the lake to meet the shoreline setback, which you can see over in this vicinity. It's the only small corner of the property where we're really not getting in too tight to the lake shore. However, we are within the 75-foot setback, which is, can't see on this plan, but I'm going to draw a quick line. It's like right about in here. And again, keep in mind that this building will be further back than the 2 cottages that were there. That's one positive. The second thing is that there's really nowhere else to put the building. Taking into consideration all the other setbacks, we spent a lot of time looking at setbacks not only for the structure itself, but also the septic systems for this particular building, and also the driveways. So I'll quickly just go through the driveways. This parcel has frontage on Assembly Point Road. There is an existing, I should have showed you on the existing conditions, but there's an existing gravel drive that runs basically from Assembly Point over to the main house. That driveway would be removed, and we are now proposing a shorter, smaller driveway that would lead towards the back of the main parcel. I guess our challenge was to keep this driveway, again, in this almost same vicinity as the existing, while providing access to the main parcel and not taking up too much room for the proposed house. The other challenge that we had was being able to provide areas for the septic systems, and we've successfully been able to show those two septic systems within, outside of the 100-foot setback, so we're not within 100 feet of the lake or any additional adjacent wells. So at one point, we were proposing to try to get a little bit tight to those setbacks, but we have been able to pull those setbacks, or pull those septic areas away from the lake far enough so that we do not need a variance for the septic fields. Along with that, a minor change or modification that would have to be made is we have to just make a slight adjustment of the property line that currently exists between the two parcels. Getting back to the numbers for the project, I think we started out, the existing permeability on this particular site was 86% with the two cottages and the driveways that were there. And now we're proposing 79.3%. So we're not adding a tremendous lot of permeability to it. We are providing adequate stormwater management through a grass infiltration basin here. We are also putting in gravel diaphragms along the edges of the parking area, and we're making some improvements to the drainage along Assembly Point Road. I believe that's pretty much all we really need to present for the variances for tonight. Obviously, there's more plans that went in with the original application, such as erosion control plans, planting plans, things of that nature. We've also got a diagram way in the back.
You want me to do it? I got it.
All right. We just had one kind of late addition to our application package, just to kind of give the board a little idea of how much of the building is actually above the 28 feet setback, or 28-foot height requirement. And you can see it's a very small section of the very tip of the roof is really the only portion that would upset that 28-foot building height. And again, the main reason we can't stay at the 28 feet is we need to raise the building high enough in order to make sure that we're out of groundwater with footings, things like that. So we're close, but we just need that little bit of extra foot of material to make the drainage work properly on the property. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments from members of the board?
I was going to ask about the height. Could I see that?
Sure.
Go ahead, Walt. Somebody else?
Yeah, you can have that.
How did you measure the height?
The building doesn't impede any other sight lines of any other residences, does it?
No. Actually, it's pretty close to where the original cottages are. There are no buildings directly, behind us as far as looking at the lake. So a lot of the views should stay the same.
So I had questions on the access. I was surprised that you didn't use the existing driveway for the proposed house.
Okay, I can explain that. in a minute.
And/or abandon the existing driveway and have the future development off
Yep.
Holly Lane.
Yep, I can get to that. As soon as she gets to the plan here, we'll talk about that a little bit. Okay, so really there's a few reasons why we're looking to have two separate driveways. Obviously, as far as the property itself, These are very expensive homes. It's nice to have a separate driveway if possible. There is this driveway here, that was the one that was used originally for this. We do have access from Holly Lane. We have frontage on Holly Lane, and we can do that. Unfortunately, we're experiencing a lot of, not issues, but problems with some of the neighbors on providing that access. There seems to be a big concern that it will bring a lot of traffic into that small little neighborhood. So at the current time, and again, this could change, we would like to just have this driveway continue to be used for the main house, and then obviously have this cottage lot have its own access. The other little issue that we have with the driveway back here is that there's not a lot of maneuvering at this vicinity. You can see that we've pushed this building almost as far as we possibly could into the corner of the property. So it really doesn't give you much maneuverability around the garage. I mean, the garage, it generally is going to be in the back. The main living quarters is going to want to be near the front of the house. So the really only maneuvering area to get in and out of the garage and get out to the driveway is in this general area, as opposed to being tucked into that tight corner.
Well, I mean, if you just flip the garage doors to the south side.
Over on this
instead
side here?
of The other side, the bottom side.
This bottom, there's not enough, you don't have enough room to pull in and out there. It's just too tight. I suppose you might be able to do something back in here, but again, it'd be very difficult.
Okay.
I'm just going to ask a quick question. So the main house, there's an existing main house there right now. Are you planning on removing both the small cabins and the main house?
No, the main house would stay for now. Yep.
And is the intent just to renovate it in the future, or will it be a
Eventually, like this concept is showing, we would take down the original structure and then put this one, obviously quite a distance further back.
All right. And you've got a freestanding garage right now, I think, about where you're
Yep.
displaying the septic field?
Yep, that's about the same area, correct.
So that'll obviously...
That garage comes down, yep.
Have you thought about just flip-flopping the whole building over? And have the garage and every, you know, and then that way you'd be able to share some of the driveway and the road together.
We're gonna be really tight to this, to the frontage along Assembly Point. I suppose that would be another maybe option, but again, I have a feeling we're gonna get really tight to Assembly Point Road with the building at that point.
Did you consider some other material than asphalt for the driveway and parking lot?
Well, again, we're at the very early stages of the design of the site, so I'm sure we could use porous pavement, things like that, to help with some of the stormwater.
Concerned about runoff?
Yep, right now, and again, right now, this is just proposed as a gravel driveway. So it's not proposed to be asphalt. The only asphalt that we're proposing would be for here, but that could be porous,
For the car?
porous asphalt, yep.
I think it's a very nice project. As it progresses, though, I think we'll have, well, to John's point, questions about the driveways. The clearing that's going to take place next to the lake, on the plan, it looks like a fair amount of clearing is going to take place. So I would just advise you, be ready to answer questions.
Sure. Yep, we have a pretty substantial planting plan already started, and we'd be more than happy to talk about that at a future meeting.
And can you describe the septic field? Is it going to be self-contained, or?
Yep, this is just right in here is the proposed septic system for the cottage lot. The other one for the main lot is right adjacent to it. They would all, you know, they're not sharing a septic system. Currently, the two cottages have tanks right behind the cottages, and they do share a septic system. So these would be individual.
Other questions, comments?
Mr. Chair, I wanted to raise the Chazen letter issue again, and I know it's not as relevant tonight as it might be for site plans. But again, there's a Chazen letter, the town engineer with 21 comments, which we got just 2 or 3 days before this meeting, without any indication, and as I've said before, applicants typically say, oh yeah, we can meet all of those requirements. So we have to trust and take them at their word.
Well, actually, no, because they need to sign off.
Excuse me?
They need to have a letter that has no issues.
But my point is, if we're going to get this letter, we should get it before, a couple of days before the meeting. And number two, with some assurance that it will not affect the site plan. There are a lot of changes being suggested in this letter, and I don't have a clue whether or not there would be changes to the site plan. Now, I know we're not doing the site plan tonight, we're only doing the variances.
Yeah, it's a valid point, and it's long been a struggle that we've had between the planning office and the town designated engineer. It's,
This one just struck me with 21 points.
well, and it's particularly difficult because of the compressed time frame we're working on this month, so that makes it worse. But they are required to get a sign off, and, you know, the discussion regarding site plan would be following variance approval, or denial for that matter, from the ZBA. So that letter could change, even possibly
If they
significantly.
can't resolve it, then the site plan has to be resolved.
They'd have to come back.
Right.
But it's got to be signed off by the town engineer.
I understand.
And and that's where his engineer and the town get together. And if they can't do it, then it can't go forward. So, I mean, I don't think we have to really be concerned with that at this point. But it's got to be done.
So tonight, our focus is on the referral to the ZBA, specifically regarding the waivers for the shoreline setback, 25 feet relief from the 75-foot requirement, and also the height. They're asking for almost 2 feet, 1 foot 10 inches of relief from the 28-foot requirement. So how do people feel about that?
Well, initially, I didn't realize the reasons they had to do it. But knowing that they have to get above the groundwater and get as minimum as possible, I don't see what else can be done.
Same thought I had. It first looked like it's, okay, why?
Why?
Okay.
I mean, I read why, but his explanation.
And a setback, as explained, you know, there's not a whole lot of elbow room there for this size structure. Okay, well, if there are no specific concerns that we want to bring to the zoning board with regards to the variances, there is no public hearing on this application. But there would be at site plan. We do
Next
it.
week,
I'm sorry?
when they come back for site plan, there'll be a public hearing.
The hand behind her.
So we do have a draft resolution.
Motion to make a recommendation on behalf of the planning board to the zoning board of appeals for area variance number 49-2020, Rockhurst LLC. The planning board, based on limited review, has not identified any significant adverse impacts that cannot be mitigated with the current project proposal.
Hello?
No? People won't
Keep
read.
going, Dave.
I'm done.
Oh, okay.
Give me a second.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? There is no, on this particular application? Not this evening. Tonight, we are considering a referral to the Zoning Board of Appeals. And once it comes back, and we're only discussing the variances this evening, and there is no public hearing for that. I believe that if they receive the variances, or if they don't, at some point, they will be back before the planning board for site plan approval, and there will be public hearing and public comment taken at that point. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
There's no public comment on the variance board either?
Yes, so tomorrow night, if at the zoning board, there will be a public hearing.
So the
Oh, yeah,
ZBA will have a public hearing. Okay.
Yeah, so we give them the option that they can speak then, but tonight, no.
Well, I think that the ZBA has to give them the option, because it's their hearing, but they are required to have a public hearing, so yes.
All right.
All right, so we have a motion, I'm sorry, was it read?
Yes.
I was on the phone, my apologies.
So I second it.
All right. Any further discussion on the motion? Maria, can you call the vote for us, please?
Mr. Deeb?
Yes.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. McGowan?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. Graver?
Yes. You're off to
All
the
right,
ZBA.
great, thank you very much.
Good luck.
Yep, thank you.
The next item on our agenda is also a planning board recommendation to the ZBA. The applicant is Jennifer Ball, subdivision preliminary stage 18-2020. Laura?
So this applicant proposes a two-lot subdivision of a 7.9 acre parcel for Lot 1A of 5.89, which includes an existing home, and Lot 2A to be a 2.09 acre marketable building lot. Variance for Lot 1A, relief is sought for lot width. For Lot 2A, relief is sought for size, width, and road frontage.
Okay, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board and staff. And for the record, Lucas Doby with Hutchins Engineering. With us also tonight in the front row is my clients, our applicants, Jennifer Ball and Dan Davies. And this is her own personal home here on 8 acres as it sits today. And the market is very healthy up here, as you all know. And so ultimately, we'd like to build a new house to the west, which she is a contract buyer of the westerly parcel, the Harris lands, which we'll discuss later tonight. Right now, we're going to the zoning board tomorrow night for our two-lot subdivision for relief, for the lot size being under 3 acres, our road frontage being less than 400 feet, and the average lot width being less than 400 feet for the RR3 zone. So we have plenty of density. In my opinion, there's plenty of space in the open field for another home along Pickle Hill Road. And everything, all her projects she does is first rate, so we believe we'll have a real nice project here to enhance the neighborhood. And we applied to the preliminary stage here to you folks at the advice of staff. So we're gonna ask for your recommendation to the zoning board and then table this application at our preliminary stage. Then if we're successful with our variance, we'll do a full-blown site plan and come back to you for the site plan approval and preliminary and final subdivision. So we're, again, very comfortable with the project, a lot of nice open space and nice neighborhood. So we're asking for your positive recommendation to the zoning board, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. So thank you, board.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments from members of the board?
Well, could you just walk us through the project? I was a little
Yes,
confused to what you were really proposing.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Can you use maybe the pointer? You don't have one.
No, I have a pointer.
Because the confusing thing was the yellow lines on the two different drawings.
Yes, I included the 2013 subdivision plat by the Bolster, which has the yellow lines. That was when Jen bought the 4.9 acres from Pam Harris back then. And then she subsequently bought the lots I outlined in yellow in 2017. We reconfigured those lots into a 3-acre parcel, which she then built a spec home on in 2017. We worked that through the process, and then she added the remaining acreage into her parcel, so to bring it up to 8 acres. The logic in including this old map was she bought 2 building rights in 2017 and built 1 home. So the old flag lot went away. So we think that it puts us in a little stronger position that she only built 1 home on the 2 lots that she bought. So now we're kind of trying to undo that merger, if you will.
So you merged two lots,
That's,
and now you want to separate them again.
that's where we did 2 boundary line adjustments. The flag lot, the old flag lot, basically merged that acreage into her parcel in 2017. Now we'd like to take some of that acreage, put it along Pickle Hill Road, and construct 1 new home.
So the thing that caught me when I'm just reading before I looked at the plans, and this was gonna be my question coming in, is we had something that was 7.98 acres. All right, we got 3 acre zoning there. I'm looking at it, I'm saying, okay, one's gonna be, you get a chance to create something. So you get a chance to really create a 3 acre parcel that conforms. And I'm looking at now looking, and I'll tell you quickly, I just looked at this other yellow line thing without going to here.
Okay.
All right, so I had the same question John said, and Chris, looking to begin with. So I was sitting there thinking, okay, why can't we get a 3-acre parcel that conforms? But we have, this is an existing house on the 5.89 acre?
That's correct, that's her house,
So
yes, sir.
you're- all right. So there's no way to pick up 0.91 acres on that lot, that's what you're saying then, with that house there? You're going for variances
Right.
anyhow on that lot
Right.
for width and frontage, that's correct?
Just on the 2-acre lot.
And-
The lot 1 has
You're right.
set it up with 400 feet of road frontage.
All right.
We just thought we'd try to not ask for as many variances.
Well, I guess it's,
you know.
it's pick the worst one that you want,
Right.
I guess is the worst, what's the worst evil there for variances?
And to your point, Mr. Valentine, we could rejigger it, if you will, to put like almost a reverse flag lot, where you take some acreage to the north, but then it's kind of pointless land for the next owner to just have like a 50 or 70-foot swath or whatever.
Well, that was just like, sort of like my underlying question, did you look at the possibility of conforming with that lot? I don't know, I'm assuming you probably did, look at it and get it to 3 acres. That's the only thought I had with it.
This is the referral to the ZBA specifically regarding the variances requested. Does anyone have any specific concerns that we want to include in a recommendation? We have a draft resolution, I think, on this.
Motion to make a recommendation on behalf of the planning board to the zoning board of appeals for area variance number 46-2020. Jennifer Ball. The planning board, based on limited review, has not identified any significant adverse impacts that cannot be mitigated with the current project proposal.
I'll second it.
We have a referral motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Maria, can you call the vote for us, please?
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Traver?
Yes. You're off to the ZBA.
Great, thank you, board, good evening.
Lucas, next time would you also say to hide all the people that are on the camera?
All right, next on our agenda, also planning board recommendation to the ZBA is Penelope D. Townsend, application site plan 59-2020. Laura?
Okay, so the applicant proposes to remove an existing 573 square foot detached garage to construct a 676 square foot front garage with storage above. The floor area of the garage is 1,352 square feet. The height is to be 22 feet. Relief that is requested is for the height of the garage.
Okay, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Stephanie Bitter for the record. I'm here tonight with Tom Hutchins as well as Penny Thompson, the landowner. We are simply requesting your recommendation for an area variance to allow the applicant to demolish the existing garage and reconstruct the figure that's presented on the screen behind you. The existing detached garage, for anyone who did a site visit, is structurally failing. It's leaning a little bit to the left and is in need of repair. The request of the applicant is to remove the structure, which is approximately 573 square feet in size. The new structure will be 676 square feet in footprint and have a covered walkway from the existing garage to the existing structure. What is mainly being proposed is to allow the applicant to incorporate much-needed storage in this detached garage. The existing home was constructed over 100 years ago, and back then apparently they didn't need basements or attic or big closets to allow for the storage and accumulation of stuff and their kids' stuff and everybody else's stuff. With that, they're proposing to allow for this new structure to assist with that need. The parcel is over an acre in size. The variance that's being sought is simply for the height of the structure. There's no floor area ratio that's being necessary with the request presented. The existing garage is 20 feet in width and 16 feet in height. What's being proposed is to add 6 feet additional in width so that it will be a 2-car garage structure and allow for 2 bays to be incorporated in the new structure. And then it'll be 22 feet in height so that the storage area can be easily accessible. That being said, the storage area will not be for living space. There will not be plumbing, there will not be water, it will only be electrical. It's simply for easy access to get up to the storage space. In reviewing the balancing test, it is our opinion that the benefit to the applicant outweighs any detriment that can be deemed to exist to the community with this request. Specifically, there is no undesirable change. This will increase the aesthetics, will allow for the recreation of a structure that is currently failing. And there's also structures in the immediate vicinity that are very similar. A lot of the neighboring properties have detached garages. Feasible alternatives may be deemed to exist. Increasing the width of the structure may be deemed a feasible alternative, but that would actually impose a greater burden or impact lands that are not currently being impacted on the property. So we feel that this is the better alternative. The area variance should not be deemed substantial since we're simply replacing the existing structure and accommodating for the storage needs of the applicant. No adverse impacts, and this should not be considered self-created and overall as to the factors that we just outlined. I have Tom here as well as the applicant, so if there's any specific questions, we're happy to answer them.
Okay, well, we're here tonight specifically for the variance. So we're discussing the height, which, let's see, 6 feet above the maximum allowed height. Questions, comments, members of the board?
It sounds like a lot, but it's not.
It does sound like a lot, yeah.
Oh, Stephanie, you said,
I was just surprised. Well, we had a similar project last month, if you remember, where they were seeking a height variance for a garage. I mean, 16 feet, you can't build a 2-story garage and
Right.
and not require a height variance.
I think that's the intent.
You said-
16 feet is just not.
you
it's
said
just not
there's other
required.
structures around the surrounding area that has similar garages?
Yes.
Are any of them over the height restriction?
I can't tell you that for certain, but I can tell you, David, that I stood in front of this garage today and I was not concerned about impacting anybody's visibility. And I did a full 360.
Having walked the neighborhood, and both my neighbors.
Ma'am,
Oh, Penny, come on up to the podium.
okay.
This
Just
is the
identify yourself. if you can.
Penny Townsend, for the record. Both my neighbors have 2-story structures. One started out as a garage, but now it's a total guest house. The other is the Michaels. And they, I believe, have living above it because I think their son stays there. And both of those people have sent or told me they were going to send letters of support when I went over the application with them. The existing garage has a little teeny attic space, and quite frankly, I can't use it anymore because I can't go up and down the ladder and carry things. I just can't. By the time this is finished, I'll be almost 75, so I can't carry things up and down ladders anymore. I can go up and down ladders, but not with something in my hand.
So how are you accessing, if this is approved, how would you access the site?
There'll be an internal stairway because I
Okay.
can do internal stairs. I can carry a fair amount of stuff, but not on a ladder, and my kids have left me with a fair amount of stuff.
Okay.
Well, Mrs. Townsend?
Can I just ask, what will you be storing upstairs in this?
Well, let's see, I have my mother's dishes, my grandmother's dishes that the kids all say they want, but don't take them now, Mom. Can you put them up there? I have family portraits that half my friends won't sit in the dining room if they're hanging. They need to go somewhere. I have outdoor cushions that need to go somewhere. I have books,
That's, no explosive though, right?
no
Okay.
explosives.
Believe me,
No fire.
I empathize with you about climbing stairs at our age, so.
And the
I know
house,
what you're
we
saying.
chose to save the house. Was built in 1913. There's really no basement. There never was. and there's no attic. I mean, it goes to the rafters. So we chose, that was our choice to keep it, but it did impinge on our ability to store
But
stuff.
my point is, it's 600 square feet up there. That's equivalent to about 4 or 5 of storage buildings.
But it,
That you
but
see
it
in ours?
isn't because it's a gambrel roof, so it's only in the middle that I'll be able to really walk, and my children in their 40s are very tall, like 6'7". I don't know how they got
Well,
there.
Stephanie says that she looked around full 360 degrees and saw no impact. Chris says it's not, it really isn't that big of a difference.
And the neighbor across the street can't even see my garage because of all the trees in between. And in the summertime, my lot, for any of you who've been there, is very heavily wooded, and I chose to leave it that way. That's what I want. I want it to be
Cozy.
an old camp.
But if you were to take the 16-foot elevation height and do a little bit flatter roof, you would still have the same square footage of storage in the second floor without the 8-foot height for the entire width.
But I can't walk.
You can for about 1/3 of the center part of the upstairs with a conventional sloped roof. Tom will understand this, with a 16-foot height. I personally think 6 feet's a lot to ask for.
Well, knowing the house is up in there, and your neighbors, 100 years ago, most of these places on the lakes were camps, so you didn't have much. Got cold, you know, to get here 100 years ago, you know, they'd come up for the summer, and then they'd go back for the winter. So you didn't need a whole lot of storage. But actually, it's tight at 16 feet. I don't feel for a garage is definitely high enough. I understand what you're doing. What I want you to do is hook up with my mother, and she can tell you just how to get the kids to take all this stuff, because she's 90, and she still goes up in the ladder in our attic, and I'm gonna cut them off.
Yeah, well, I did this summer, and a couple of times, I,
No, it's not worth,
it's not worth.
Not
falling.
worth it.
I've had 2 falls this already. So my request is, that's my request, and I will.
yeah, I don't feel that it really, I think the garage and the design, it really will flow in nice, and it will look nice in the neighborhood. That is, you got nice neighbors and nice homes on either side. I think it will blend in nice, and like you said, you're pretty thick in there, so I'm good.
Okay. Other questions, comments?
Stephanie started off saying that things we need to the left, and I think it's our duty to correct that.
All right, well, we do have a draft resolution.
Okay. Motion to make a recommendation on behalf of the planning board to the zoning board of appeals for area variance under 47-2020, Penelope, D. Townsend. The planning board, based on limited review, has not identified any significant adverse impacts that cannot be mitigated with the current project proposal.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Maria, can you call the vote for us, please?
Dixon?
Yes.
Schaefer?
No.
Mr. Hunziker?
Yes.
McGowan?
Sorry, yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
Thank
You're
you.
off to the ZBA. Yep.
Good luck.
Steph, it's good to still see you in town.
Next item on our agenda is also under recommendations to the ZBA. This is for Bonnie Rosenberg, site plan 58-2020. Laura?
So the applicant proposes to construct 2 residential additions. On the north side, the addition is Approximately 64 square feet is on the upper level, and the south side addition is two-story at 370 square feet, a total of 740 square feet total. Relief is being requested for a shoreline setback, floor area, as well as a setback of one side of the addition to the side property line.
Okay, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. I am Dennis McElroy with Environmental Design, representing the applicants Bonnie and Stuart Rosenberg. They are not with us tonight. We'll be at a future meeting if we progress back to you on Thursday. Doug McCall, who is the designer, builder of the proposed additions to this house, is in the audience. As described, this project involves the renovation of, in addition to an existing structure in the waterfront residential zone. The Rosenbergs have owned the property for 35 years. They have reached retirement and are looking to make this more of a permanent residence for them. So they are hoping for some additional comforts of the structure, making it truly a year-round habitable structure, which it is year-round now, but these improvements will add to that. So as a result of the design that they came up with, there's some additional floor area. There's, we bump into a side yard setback, and there's a shoreline setback, which is somewhat different than most cases. As it exists, it's at 39 feet. There's going to be a slight revision to that, so it will go back to 41 feet. But besides the standard 50-foot setback that you're used to, this one really falls under the average of the two adjacent properties, which, as shown on the variance plan, indicates that is more like 83 feet, the average of the two. So that's where another variance request comes in. I know that this isn't the public hearing portion, but my understanding is that there will be favorable, supportive letters from neighbors, the two immediate neighbors that are most affected by the setback, and two more neighbors to the north and two more neighbors to the south, at the least. I think the town already has those in their files. So I think that we've got good neighborhood support. It is a request for variances, but that's what the project results in.
Okay. I know this isn't specifically on the variances, but one of the things I would like you to be prepared to discuss when you return for site plan is the shoreline buffer. Just be thinking a little bit about that.
Yes.
Questions, comments from members of the planning board regarding the variances?
I have one. Are you taking the 2 feet off the front deck because it's no good? Or was it to just gain more frontage?
I think it's not a necessary dimension that's needed in that deck, so it's appropriate. I think Doug has looked at this and decided that it's not necessary. It can be removed, and therefore it does, increases that setback minimally, understood, but it's something.
Yeah, because I mean, that's pre-existing, and you're actually coming out, on the sides and that's like, I mean, to me, it would just be an added cost to take it off. I mean, I would prefer to see more on the shoreline buffering, buffering, if anything, but I mean, but that was just my opinion. It just caught my eye, and I'm like, 2 feet.
Cantilever deck up back to the design. It's a cantilever deck, and it doesn't work. It works with an existing house, but not in the design. That's what I thought.
Okay, thanks. I just fought it off. Thank you.
I don't know if you caught that for the record, but
It's a cantilever deck, and it doesn't go with the new design of the house.
Other questions, comments,
Dennis.
concerns with regard to the variances requested? We have a draft resolution, I believe, for this.
Motion to make recommendation on behalf of the planning board to the zoning board of appeals for area variance number 48-2020, Bonnie Rosenberg. The planning board, based on limited review, has not identified any significant adverse impact that could not be mitigated with the current project proposal.
We have a motion, do we have a second? Any discussion on the motion?
I'll second it.
Is there still any discussion on the motion?
No, no discussion, you got your second.
Okay.
And your third.
Then Maria, if you can call the vote for us, please?
Johnsinger,
Yes.
Cowan,
Yes.
Mr. Valentine,
Yes.
McKee,
Yes.
Mr. Dixon,
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer,
Yes.
Trevor.
Yes. You're off to the ZBA.
Thank you very much. Hope to see you Thursday.
Dennis, I thought you retired.
I'm trying.
Next item on our agenda, also under referral to the ZBA, is Harrisina Church subdivision preliminary stage 16-2020. Laura?
So this application is for a 3-lot subdivision of a 3.8 acre parcel. Lot 1 is to be 1.3 and to maintain the existing home. The Lot 2 is to be 1.3 and Lot 3 is to be 1.2. The Lot 3 is to have access off of Clements Road, and Lot 2 and Lot 1 are to have access off of Ridge Road.
Okay, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Matt Webster with Van Duzen and Steve's Land Surveyors, here on behalf of Harrisina Community Church, of course. We're here to seek relief from the minimum area for the lot size. Of course, the minimum lot size would be 2 acres, and we are seeking relief to 1.3, 1.3, and 1.2 acres. The Harrisina Community Church is simply looking to raise some revenue, and they can use the land that they currently have to do so. This still fits with the character of the neighborhood, as there are several lots in the area that do not meet the 2 acre minimum zoning.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments from members of the board?
Well, my first thought, this is just as a supposition, is because the one driveway is proposed to come off Clements Road, we're on a state road looking at maybe two curb cuts here. I was wondering if there was if you looked at the possibility of carrying the driveways of the 2 northernmost lots at the property line.
That would be a shared driveway? Consider that?
That's certainly something we can take a look at. Yeah, we can take a look at that.
Of course, at this stage, we're at subdivision,
Yeah,
so.
well, so we're not there,
That's true too. Yeah.
but
All right.
it does make it more palatable.
Okay.
I mean, you could go 2 lots, get 1.9 acres out of both of them, but that, and that gets you close to the 2 acres.
Yes, that was certainly something that has been discussed, but the church is looking to, of course, maximize the value of the land.
So is everybody
Yeah.
at this point.
So is the planning board.
That was my first thought. Yeah, 1.9 gets really close to
Yeah.
conformance to have 2 lots.
And then you only have 1 curb cut on Ridge.
You only get 1 curb cut.
Understood. That's also why we showed the potential driveway on Clements Road there, so that, we're minimizing
Right.
any curb cuts on Ridge and, of course, the traffic.
Okay, so do we want to mention, the one item that we discussed is trying to get a shared driveway as opposed to adding,
So that would be site plan.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that'd be
That's
site plan.
oh, that's right, yeah, I've got to remind myself, we're just here for the.
No, actually, that would be under your subdivision rule. Because of Ridge Road, it would be required to have a shared driveway or a variance to have the 2 separate driveways.
Sure you got to go.
And then you did mention, do you want to mention that you may prefer a 2-lot subdivision versus a 3-lot subdivision? That is definitely something that you should share with the zoning board if that's how, I guess,
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd like to put that in there.
okay.
And how's the rest of it?
people be more comfortable with 2 lots versus 3? I mean, I know it's,
You know,
Yeah, I think the point's valid. Myself, when I first looked at it, saying, okay, we got 3 consecutive lots here out of acreage that you could conform. You know? And I know about anybody coming up owns property, said, yeah, I'd like to get as many lots out of it as I can.
right.
Understood.
But there's not a reason not to do, you know, 2-acre lots, or, you know, or come close to it.
Okay, so we'll include that in the referral.
And in this case, we would, I mean, we are here asking for the relief to the 1.3 and 1.2 acres, just because it still fits in with the character of the neighborhood. There are examples very close to this that are under those 2 acres. So again, that's just kind of our thinking on that.
I understand that.
That's what you tell the zoning board, yeah.
You tell the
Understood.
zoning board,
Yeah.
don't- and they're the ones gonna have to give you.
That's probably why they changed the zoning. All right, so then we have a draft resolution?
Motion to make a recommendation on behalf of the planning board to the zoning board of appeals for area variance number 45-2020, Harrisina Church. Planning board, based on limited review, has identified the following area of concern: subdivision of the parcel into 2 lots instead of 3 lots.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion on the motion? Maria, can you call the vote for us, please?
Mr. McGowan?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. Deeb?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Mr. Trailer?
Yes, you're off to the ZBA.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Oh, excuse me, sir, could you just take one of those wipes and clean the microphone off for the next speaker, please? Thank you.
Oh.
I need to mention that. Part of our COVID.
I do.
I told Dave, I said, what?
Hey, that cool? Now that you mention it, now I'm starting to think about it. Thanks a lot, Chris.
Sorry.
Now I'm starting to shiver.
Why, you think it's cold?
He does. I didn't
I
think he
do.
was till he said it.
It's freezing.
You do?
Yeah.
So that camel hair guy?
Yeah. My feet are cold.
Yeah.
My legs are cold. You can feel the draft from something.
Next item, the next section of our agenda is new business, and the first item under new business is Michael Alford, Birch Bottle, site plan 53-2024.
So this applicant proposes to reuse an existing 75,000 square foot building for warehouse, sales of assorted containers in an office area. It requires site plan review because it hasn't had a site plan within the past 7 years.
Aha, okay, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Mike Alford. I'm one of the owners of Birch Bottle and Packaging. We bought the old Web Graphics building, and we're proposing to reuse the space as a packaging distribution warehouse.
Okay,
I don't know what questions you have.
Glad to see it reused.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it needed a lot of, and it hasn't been touched in years.
No, yeah, I was in it, not, well,
How long ago?
because they were closing.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
yeah, that's probably when we looked at it.
Yep,
It's much different now.
yeah, yeah.
It's cleaned up, it's,
Are you gonna do any renovations?
not structural, no. No,
And that's for the outside, right? Just the inside?
The inside, yeah.
Yeah.
There was, they added some partitions and stuff, and that's all come down, and, you know, the floor, we're doing the floors over, we did a roof over. There was some drainage problems that we had to correct. But no, you know, in the future, we'll probably be back here for, you know, an addition, but right now, it's just for reuse.
That's pretty straightforward.
Well, I would like to thank you and your company of coming to Queensbury and bringing it up. It's been exciting hearing you come up and always looking forward to economic growth in our area.
Yeah.
And like I said, and for taking up a building that was, it just sat too long, and
Yeah. Yeah, once it was not Web Graphics, it was owned by Taylor, the maintenance went, you know, downhill. And, you know, we like the area. I live in Greenfield, it's not that far. So, and everyone here has been really nice, and so far you know, it's been great. We've used all local contractors, and that's, you know, we want to be part of the community.
I do want to mention that there is a public hearing on this application. We will open that now, and I want to let people know, remind them if they're watching us on the YouTube channel, that if you wish to call the planning board and make public comment on this application, you may do so at the following number. Area code 518-761-8225. And I'll ask, is there anyone in the audience that wanted to address the planning board on this application? Not seeing any hands. Laura's checking to see if there are any written comments.
There's no written comment.
No written comments, okay. Questions, comments from members of the board? Fairly straightforward
Yeah, well,
improvement to the site?
the one question from staff notes is on the site lighting, and whether or not the fixtures are downcast fixtures.
We haven't changed, we've changed the lighting, not, we updated the lighting, but they're still pointed the same way they were, and they don't seem to be, you know, we have and we do, if you look at the front of the building, there's nothing that points towards the road that would bother anyone. And, you know, it's pointing the same direction, it always has the neighbors, and on the side where there is neighbors, there's a row of trees. They're,
Yeah.
cedar trees.
Yep.
So the lighting is downcast?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, there's a
Sure.
bullet item below that also that talks about site details. The survey indicates monitoring wells on the site, and staff would suggest requesting the status of the well. I'm sure if you can.
Can you comment on that? Evidently, there's a well on site?
I believe they would be on the west side. There's I don't know.
Not even seeing it on the... Do you know what the status of the well is? Is it still functional?
Not to my knowledge. There's two risers that have locks on them, but I really don't know what their purpose is. We went through a whole environmental, you know, that was the whole holdup for us, because we wanted to make sure the property was clean.
Sure.
So I know there's no contamination or anything. Didn't know they were monitored, though.
Okay.
That held us up for a good 6 to 8 months, because we were going back and forth to make sure the state would sign off on everything. And we also had a state inspector walk through the building while I was there, and he went through everything, and he says, okay, I'm done here.
The notes do indicate that there's some form of monitoring on the wells. Are you familiar with that?
So
Not at all.
can I just clarify? So it says
Sure.
that monitoring wells on the site, and it just uses whoever did the survey, I initial it as MW. So I'm not quite sure whether they're operating or if you know, but it sounds like if there was anything that was done on the site, an environmental review, that they would have evaluated those monitoring wells. And if you purchase a property based on the fact that the environmental clearance was given, then my guess is that they're either they function correctly, or they're no longer needed.
Yeah, they're just, I don't know if you can see them on the map up there. They're just two standpipes that come up and with caps on them, and we've never got a resolution of what they were.
Okay.
But like Laura said, the environmental people have been through the whole site, and I believe there's nothing there.
Oh, they must have used them to test groundwater.
It could have been. No one can give me an answer on it.
Yeah.
And our environmental people couldn't find anything. They did all kinds of core samples and everything. Because we were concerned being.
Did they take water out of these wells and test them?
I know they tested the site. I don't know if they went through those wells. But I mean, I would assume that if they saw the wells.
Yeah.
And they were concerned about it.
Sure.
You know,
I'm
they
sure they
signed
did a
off on it.
title search too, to make sure that,
Right.
What kind of noise generation does the business put out?
Very little. We have tractor trailers, that's it.
What time do they come in?
Mostly during the day. Some will show up maybe 6 o'clock in the morning.
I noticed your hours 11:30 p.m.
We're considering running a second shift, but that would be for restocking the shelves inside.
So it wouldn't generate a lot of noise.
No, not at all. No, we're a very quiet business. Yeah, we make very little noise. Even our fork trucks are electric.
Oh, wow.
So,
Oh, wow.
Any other questions, concerns regarding the application? We have a draft motion?
Motion to approve.
Chairman, you need to close public
Yeah.
hearing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so we did not receive any phone calls, no written comments, no one in the audience wanted to comment, so we will close the public hearing. Thank you, Maria. So now we can entertain a motion. My apologies.
Motion to approve site plan 53-2020, Michael Alsler, dash Birch Bottle. Approve the draft provided by staff, conditioned upon the following. 1, waivers request granted. 2, the approval is valid for 1 year from the date of approval. Applicant is responsible for requesting an extension of approval before the 1-year time frame has expired if the applicant has not yet applied for a building permit or commenced significant site work. 3, adherence to the items outlined in the follow-up letter sent with this resolution, including items A through G.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I guess my only discussion, this is for him to use the building.
Right.
So it just sounds fine that, you know, we say, well, he's only got a year to, you know, you can
Right.
stay as long as you want.
We plan on it.
All right, if there's no other discussion, we'll entertain the vote. Maria, please.
Mr. McGowan?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. Teague?
Yes?
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, you're all set.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you.
Do you want copies of you want any of these back?
Actually, I'll take them when you get, if you want to send them down this way, we'll use them for final plans.
Yep.
Okay.
Next item on our agenda, also under new business, is Foothills Builders, site plan 55-2020.
So this applicant proposes to construct a 2,019 square foot footprint single-family home. It's a single-story with a full unfinished basement. The project includes grading a new septic system. The project is under review because it's within 50 feet of 15% slopes.
Okay, thank you, Lawrence. Good evening.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I think I might speak up as I see some of my fellow neighbors here and that, but this is my neighborhood, so what do you feel I shall do?
Well, you have disclosed a potential conflict of interest. If you feel that it is a conflict of interest, you can recuse yourself from deliberation on this application. Otherwise, you're fine.
I mean, I don't feel, that we all know that there's the lots, we have the lots that were on Round Pond Road, and we still know there was always one up on the hill, so I don't feel I have a conflict of interest.
Okay, understood. And what, the fact that these are your neighbors, you've disclosed that, so that's part of the record, that's fine. Good evening.
Good evening, Tom Center with Hutchins Engineering, representing this project this evening. I also have Mr. Lucci from Foothills Builders, who's going to be building the house, and his daughter is here, who's going to be living in the house. This is an approved building lot with a shared common driveway. We've kept the house in close to the same location as the approved subdivision plans. We've got a small 3-bedroom septic system on the backside. In acknowledgement of the existing driveway and the existing neighbors' parcels, we've shown the water line to actually come in via Birdsall Road, so we're not coming across the front lawn and up the driveway. In that tight neighborhood, there's not a lot of room to do that. We'd have to cross the driveway. So it's just as easy to come off the backside and come off Birdsall Road and up the back way for the water line. And we're also looking at possibly coming off the power line on the back corner. There's a pole right down by that property corner on Birdsall where we can either look at bringing the power underground or set another pole on the property and bring it in above ground. We'll have to work with National Grid for the electrical service. Other than that, we've got stormwater design. We've got a few engineering comments, nothing out of the ordinary there that we need to clean up a few details and clarify a couple of things. But other than that, it's a pretty common sense design, 3-on-1 slope on the back side of the septic system, slight slope for a lawn out the back side, be a walkout basement on the back side of the house.
Okay, no variances?
No variances.
Approved building lot. Questions, comments from members of the board?
straightforward.
Questions for the applicant's representative? Fairly straightforward home, I would say. It's almost a relief.
It looks like it's the same design that showed when you built your first subdivision out Peggy Inn. It looks like the exact same house.
Very, very close to the same style house.
We do have a public hearing on this application, and I'll alert folks who may be viewing this discussion on the town's YouTube channel that if you wish to comment on Site Plan 55-2020 for Foothills Builders, please call us at area code 518-761-8225. And I'll ask, is there anyone in the audience that wanted to address? Yes, sir. I will formally open the public hearing, and we do have a gentleman that would like to make a comment.
Yes, my name's Russell Thomas. I own the one where they're talking about the shared driveway.
Okay.
Okay. To my knowledge, that was changed. That is not a shared driveway. That was told to me by Mike Lamont and by Guido Passarelli that when I first built there was no other houses. I've owned that since 1998 or 99. The road wasn't even in. I was always told that the road for that lot would come off of Birdsall, okay? Then,
Is that, excuse me for interrupting, is that in your deed, or do you have any paperwork to that effect?
no, there's nothing in there. I don't believe there's anything even on the shared driveway now, because when we did do the driveway, okay, when Mike Lamont laid it out, okay, it was onto LaRue's property, which is the one to the right going up the driveway. Okay, there had to be a lot line adjustment, which I did pay for. Okay, I also went through the town with Mr. Bruce Franks there, because of the water runoff and everything else, all at my expense. Okay, the driveway has never been, shared as far as expenses or anything. Okay, plus when I went through with LaRue's, when we had to do the lot line adjustment, okay, it was also told at that time to us the same thing, that lot would be accessed from Birdsall, from the Birdsall Road.
Okay.
Also, that does hinder, my house by coming up in through there, because it does pass over my property.
So you're saying that if this house is constructed as proposed, it would cross your property?
That's correct.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Thank you very much. Are there any written comments, Laura?
There are no written comments.
Okay. We'll leave the public hearing open for a little bit longer in case there's folks on the phone call. Can I ask the applicant's representative to come back up? So obviously the most striking of the public comment is the suggestion that the driveway as proposed would cross the property line of the neighbor?
The existing driveway on Lot 10 is in the location, close to the location of the common shared driveway. Laura, if you want to pull up the drawing from the original subdivision plans. We would be tying into that existing driveway. Of course, you shared driveway, you got to finish constructing it onto Lot 9's parcel. So yes, I mean, it shows we do have to cross the property line to get from Lot 10 to Lot 9. What I've got here is the original approved subdivision plans that was approved by the Town of Queensbury Planning Board and Department of Health, which shows a common drive, almost in the same location. You can see it in the hatched, the clouded area. You can see a common drive coming off here, following the property line, turning, and coming up to the house on Lot 9, and then it showed a house location kind of in the central portion of the property, and with a driveway here.
And where the neighbor's house?
His house is actually further over here as opposed to the central portion of the parcel, so
Okay.
it's a little bit closer to this side. We would just be coming off the edge of that that existing driveway and tying into, and creating the new driveway for the new house, which we've located right here. There's the property line here. So he actually brought that driveway a little bit more in and then up this way, and we're just tying in to it right at the property line. So that driveway is kind of dictated to us on his property, him being the first one to build there. We tried to do as minimal amount of disturbance on his parcel to create the driveway into Lot 9.
And this is representing the original,
This is the original subdivision approval for the entire subdivision.
and that shows the shared
And
driveway
that shows a common driveway right there. It says common driveway on the driveway. On the plan, if you were to zoom in, you would see it says common driveway. Also, I did a deed research for Mr. Thomas's original parcel. I found 2 deeds. I found the one that he mentioned about the lot line adjustment, which would be that lot line. And then there is a further deed when he originally purchased the property, and it clearly shows, and Laura can put that up there, it clearly shows within schedule, I believe it's Schedule A of his deed, that it has a restriction for Lot 9 to have access through a shared driveway.
It just seems, I mean, I don't think any planning board would have that subdivision designed and allow for 2 lots to have external access onto the other road rather than the internal road. It just, it doesn't.
I'm sorry, what?
Well, there's a height, there's a slope.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say,
right there.
hill.
I mean, we can bring the water line in there, because it does come down to a low point there, so we can get the water line there, but to build a driveway up there would be,
Well, the
you know, I
water
can.
line didn't go the most
Right.
direct route either.
Right,
so-
I followed the grade to get it up there.
So we haven't received any phone calls, so we'll go ahead and close the public hearing on this application. Laura, do you have any information that might clarify the shared driveway issue?
Other than it's an existing approved subdivision with a shared driveway.
Okay, so there was, in the public hearing, we heard comment that there is no shared driveway. You're saying that the confirmation by the approved subdivision, it shows that there is a shared
There is the filed subdivision in our office shows the shared driveway as described.
Okay, thank you.
Tom, your research of Lot 10 deed shows a shared
Yes, and Laura can pull that up there, she just hadn't scrolled down far enough. It's clearly in Mr. Thomas's deed that it shows.
Good. And there's no map note on the subdivision that was filed?
What about the second map?
Can I finish my question, please? Was there no map note on that,
There wasn't
access?
there wasn't a map note, there was just in the schedule. It might be the next page, Laura, I got it.
No, that's all right, if you say it was not there, I'm just.
There it is, right there, accepting and reserving. And the one that Mr. Thomas was referring to was, it gives a whereas, and whereas the parties desire to establish a new common boundary line between their respective premises, and that has language in it between 11 and 10. It doesn't say anything about 9, it doesn't have bearing on the original deed.
So that's just a meets and bounds description.
Correct.
Of the property line for the 2 lots. Or
The easement, yeah.
Yeah, and it shows this, pretty much the same location.
Any other questions, comments regarding this application? We do have a draft resolution, I believe, for this.
Motion to approve site plan 55-2020, Foothills Builders, according to the draft resolution prepared by staff with the following. 1, waivers requested granted. 2, the approval is valid for 1 year from the date of approval. Applicant is responsible for requesting an extension of approval before the one-year time frame has expired if the applicant has not yet applied for a building permit or commenced significant site work. 3, adherence to the items outlined in the follow-up letter sent with this resolution, including items A through K.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Can I just offer, because the neighbors in the audience, is that typically the board doesn't get involved in civil matters
Right.
between property owners. So it's not that they're not listening to your discussion, it's that they can't act on things that are within a deed or a discrepan, that type of discrepancy that you're describing. So I just wanted to
Thank you for
clarify
that
that.
clarification, Laura.
Don't you understand?
Is there any discussion on the motion? Maria, can you call the vote for us, please?
You seconded it?
Here.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Hunzinger?
Yes.
McGowan?
Abstain.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. Dees?
Yes.
Mr. Traver?
Yes. You're all set.
You want anything?
Joe?
No?
The next item on our agenda, also under new business, is Jennifer Ball, subdivision 17-2020. Laura?
Okay, so this is a, excuse me, a two-lot subdivision and a boundary line adjustment. The parcel, the main parcel, 9.1, is 16 acres, and then lot 1 to be 12 acres, and lot 2 to be 3 acres, excuse me. The boundary line adjustment with the parcel, I'm going to name it 8, that is 0.64 acres, is to add an additional 1 acre to that, making it more compliant. And the applicant is here to discuss the activities that are occurring because one of the main lot will contain a new home and then convert the existing garage, what we used to call it the Harris Garage. So they're going to convert that into a residential garage, expand it a little bit, so there will be additional variances that are pointed out in the staff notes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello again.
Good evening again, Board. For the record, Lucas Doby with Hutchins Engineering, and with me is the applicants Jennifer Ball and Dan Davies. She's a contract buyer from Pam Harris on this 16-acre piece, which contains the old Keith Harris's block garage there, if you will, which my understanding is pretty cluttered in there still, so they would like to clear it out, rehab the garage, add a shed dormers off of each side for outdoor storage, and really improve the property. And, we have a fully compliant 2-lot subdivision with a 1-acre boundary line adjustment to the westerly neighbor Hutchinson, which will give them significantly more land, and it will also encompass their well, which is off the property. The neighboring well is on the Harris parcel now, just a little bit, but we'll clean that up too as part of the action. And so we're here at the sketch phase. We wanted to discuss this project in the context of her other project, because she's really reworking that whole neighborhood there. We're proud to be part of the project. And on the 12-acre parcel, they would like to construct their new home up on the knoll. It's a beautiful piece of property, and then have a saleable 3-acre lot, which will be just to the west of her house now. Again, it's all open field for the most part. There's plenty of space, in our opinion, for these projects, and taking the first step here with our sketch plan phase, and then we're going to develop our full-blown architectural renderings, and we'll be back with a full site plan submission to you folks in a couple of months, and to hopefully work them all through. And, with that, we'd be happy to entertain any questions, comments from the board, and thank you for your time.
Sure. So we are at sketch, so we're just looking to give the applicant some feedback on this proposal.
Well, I think you hit on 2 key words. It's fully compliant.
That's rare.
Yeah.
Those are 2 words we like to hear.
Yeah. So there's really not a whole lot to add.
No, and then
I
like
mean,
Laura said,
you could make the 3-acre lot a little bit bigger than 3 acres, but, I mean,
and like Laura said, with our variances on this project will be to rehab that garage, because it is over the 2,200 allowable square feet, so it's.
but it's existing.
It's existing.
Yeah.
In a little bit of rough shape, so it's really looking forward to cleaning that all up and new siding and reduce the gravel laydown yard there significantly, so it'll create more green space. And we've been advised by staff that to pursue those variances, we need our full-blown site plan. So that's, we weren't prepared to get that done for this meeting, so we submitted our sketch and give us a little more time to work and incorporate any of your feedback.
Okay. Any other comments for our sketch plan?
Isn't there still a foundation on one of those properties? Or was that taken out?
An old foundation?
Yeah, there was an old foundation on one of them, wasn't there? Looked like someone started to build.
No.
Was it there before? I mean, I don't remember.
It's a lot on the corner of Pickle Hill and Ridge, that house burned down. That's the one that has the foundation on it, that has nothing to do with you.
All right, that's the Steve Medevere one then?
Right,
All
and they
right.
actually just pulled it.
I knew there was one there, but it wasn't, it seemed a little odd because it was just, was in the middle of nowhere, so.
Yeah, and that was a Harris property at one point.
Okay.
You have any questions for us?
I don't believe we do.
All right, so I guess we have heard, I'm not hearing any concerns with what you're,
I just have a question. The intent is to keep that garage with a 12-acre lot around it then?
That is correct, sir.
No, no further subdivision of it?
any other questions?
I'm just looking where, now that you're further subdivided, where they're gonna come out with it.
All right, I guess you're all set.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Have a good night, board.
You want these plans?
I don't need them.
Should we hang on to
Just
them?
thought I'd ask. Good night.
Happy holidays.
The next item on our agenda, also under new business and with a public hearing, is Michael Cocoletsos, subdivision modification 15-2020. Laura?
So the applicant proposes to modify an approved subdivision to now include installation of a fence and to include a forest thinning to remove unhealthy and undesirable trees to allow other hardwoods and healthy key species to grow. I just want to point out the applicant has been working with staff on this site to make sure that they're in compliance at each step that he's been taking. So we reached a point where he said that the applicant should come into the planning board to have the modification.
Okay, thank you. Good evening.
Hi, everyone. For the record, John Lapper and Mike and his dad, John, are both here to answer any questions. So before we get started, I was sitting home watching you on my phone on YouTube, which is very convenient, one of the upsides of the pandemic, so I knew when I needed to be here. And things moved really fast once you got to the regular projects after the recommendation, so quicker than I thought, so perfect.
Well, thanks for racing right over and not holding us up, Joe.
It wasn't a long drive. So Mike did the subdivision so he could build his house. And what's transpired here, and he's had Bruce Frank and Craig up to the property, because he's got this large wooded lot, all the neighbors kind of take advantage and dump all their clippings on his property, which, just so all summer he sees, new grass clippings and it's a big mess. And that's really why he wanted some privacy. But then he went to get this DEC letter that was included in the packet, which is, something I don't usually see, to go to that level to explain, what this stand of trees is like with the poplar trees that they called aspens, that are, don't have any cover at the bottom. The undergrowth is all gone, that it blocks the sun. I mean, so that even if it wasn't for the neighbors, there's just a good reason to make it a healthy forest, to take down some of these older trees. But the reason why he's doing it is so we can get the track hoe in there, obviously, and be able to put in the fence. But, all in all, it's a heavily wooded lot. The fence will serve as a buffer. There's going to be plenty of trees left, as the application states. and it's just about just protecting his property from having it used as a dumping ground. So that's it, and we can answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments from members of the board?
Well, I had a question on his 8 Rottweilers, and that's what I heard he needed this fence for. No, I've taken a walk, and it is pretty heavily dense, and really, it really is a shame of you know, like I said, for so many years, people just been encroaching, and even after, I believe you purchased it, I believe you even sent letters out to the neighbors, kind of remind them, and it still kind of happens. So I say, you know, Mike and John, thank you for coming back and asking, you know, instead of just going ahead and doing things. I think by pruning it out and taking down, it was a nice letter from the forester and that, I think it's a great thing, and it's gonna just change that whole lot. Opening that up with some of those high canopy trees that are dangerous anyways.
Okay, any other questions, comments, concerns?
Just one question. What type of fence are you proposing to put? There's an existing fence there right now.
Give us the details of the fence, Mike.
6-foot chain link all the way around. A lot of the neighbors' fences.
Excuse me, could you just state your name for the record, please?
Mike Kokoletsis, property owner.
And the fence is chain link, 6 feet high?
Yes. Once we get the equipment in there to construct the fence.
And tell us about some of the neighbors have fences, some don't.
Some of the neighbors have fences. Most of their fences are on my property, and you can see that by the surveyor's stakes. And their fences have gates. Why they have gates? There's only one reason.
So they can dump the clips?
So they can come out and dump on my property.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do is just set it, you know, right up as close to theirs as I can, so they're not walking out through their back gate and using my property as the, you know, Queensbury transfer station.
Will those encroaching fences be removed as part of your project?
No, I'm not removing any of their fences.
I didn't-
I'm not removing any of their fences. I'm
So
just-
even if it's on your property, you'll leave it and put the chain link behind it?
Yes.
Yes.
Just in a, all right, take that fight.
All right. If there are no concerns or further questions for the applicant, we have a motion we can entertain.
You gotta reaffirm,
Yeah, did you open the public?
Oh, there is, yes, I'm sorry, thank you. There is a public hearing on this application. Is there anyone in the audience that wanted to address the planning board?
no need.
Not seeing anyone. If there are members of the public that are watching this on the YouTube channel, if they wish to comment, please call us at area code 518-761-8225, and we'll give you a couple of minutes to do that, should you wish to. Are there any written comments, Laura?
There are no written comments.
Okay.
Do you wanna go ahead and reaffirm secret?
What's that?
You wanna reaffirm the secret declaration now, or no?
Well, we have not received any interest from the phone call. By the way, Laura, this phone doesn't say planning board, it says kitchen. Just a minor,
Kitchen.
I don't know if that's what, when people call, I don't know if that's what it shows them.
Ordering pizza.
Yeah, there you go, yeah.
How many sandwiches?
We're a satellite of Angelina's.
We gotta make sandwiches.
Yeah, we could use them.
Okay, why don't we reaffirm,
All right, well, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and we'll entertain a motion.
Right, motion to reaffirm negative declaration for the proposed subdivision modification 15-2020, Michael Kokolexis.
Yep. Okay, we have a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Maria, can you call the vote for us, please?
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. Deeb?
Yes.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Faber?
Yes, you're all set.
We gotta do the motion now.
That was secret.
We gotta do the resolution.
I thought we just did.
That was
That
secret.
was seeker.
Reaffirming seeker.
Reaffirm seeker. Gotta listen,
Oh.
Steve.
Sorry.
You're so busy watching the phone.
He's watching that phone. so
Yeah, that's
closely.
it, yeah.
We
My
didn't get-
apologies.
No.
All right, so we have an
Ready.
approval motion.
All right, motion to approve subdivision modification 15-2020, Michael Kokolexis. Per the draft provided by staff, conditioned upon the following, where the property owner is responsible for the following, and I don't have any followings.
Well, I'll second it then.
All right, we have approval motion made, seconded. Is there any discussion on that motion? Not hearing any. Maria, can you call the vote for us, please?
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer? Yes. Mr. Hunziker?
Yes.
Mr. McGowan?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. Deeb?
Yes.
Mr. Faber?
Yes. Now you're all set.
Thanks, everybody.
All right,
Hey,
take
Mike,
care.
you want these? Your plans and that you'll have to submit to the Queensbury and maybe frame that letter? Yeah. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Jack, it's good seeing you again.
That concludes our regular agenda. Just a reminder that we'll be back together this Thursday. Believe it or not, this is one of those months when we're having 2 meetings a month. We also have elections for officers next week, or next meeting, which is Thursday. And I think that's it. Did everybody turn in their workplace violence, thanks to Laura? Okay.
Not yet. I gotta see what I took at the county.
Okay, all right, so we still have some folks that need to submit their workplace violence training items to you, Laura?
Yes, thank you for a reminder. I still need some folks to return, either review the PowerPoint or the PDFs that I sent to you, or provide me the ones that you have completed at your workplace.
Okay.
So that's 2 different things. So that's the workplace violence and harassment training, and then you also have to submit your regular planning training, your 4-hour requirement if you haven't done so. So
Okay.
I do have, and I apologize, I don't know off the top of my head who still owes me information, but.
Brad does.
Okay. So if you think you owe information, you probably do. How's that?
Where will we do the training? Find something online?
Yes, I sent out.
Laura sent us out an email with all the PowerPoints.
Okay.
So you can view those, and then there's an attendance sheet you just fill out.
Did I do that?
So David already did the harassment training. What I would need from you, and I'm not sure, is the planning training. So there's a bunch of videos that you can click on and review, and then submit saying that I watched this video, I did 4 hours worth of training.
All right. Now, I guess we're all set. We can stand for adjournment if somebody wants to make that motion.
So moved.
Is there anyone opposed, or, I'm sorry, anyone in favor? Say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? We stand adjourned, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you in
All right, so
48 hours.
everybody, I wish everybody